Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good day to all of you. I hope you, your families and beloved ones are in excellent health and are keeping safe during these unusual times that have affected all of us collectively. It is of my pleasure to be with you all today to share Jordan's journey towards renewable energy transition. I'm honored to be taking part in this forum, which has been organized by our dear Morocco, on a topic that has been important to our two nations. Morocco, like Jordan, has been a pioneer in the Arab world in transitioning towards renewable energy. Their efforts should be applauded, and lessons learned from the Moroccan journey should influence future policy responses throughout the MENA region. Similarly, Jordan has come a long way to instill itself as an important regional and international player in promoting renewable energy and transitioning towards sustainable energy systems. Jordan experienced a significant boom in its renewable energy mix since 2014, and that is something we're proud of. We have managed to implement numerous solar and wind utility scale projects that increase Jordan's renewable energy contribution from the total electrical energy mix from 1% in 2014 to 13% in 2019. And we will reach, hopefully inshallah, 20% by the first quarter of 2021. To date, we have 2016 megawatt systems feeding the Jordanian grid with renewable energy. This accomplishment was made possible due to a myriad of policies that were devised throughout the years and spearheaded by a change in the legislative and procedural frameworks that took place in 2012. The change in legislation was supported by two important policies. The first eased the ability to obtain financial facilities, while the other directly funded the implementation of renewable energy efficiency projects and measures on a smaller scale. The policies culminated in wide support from the private sector, translating into enhanced cooperation on all levels. This cooperation allowed Jordan to realize its vision in becoming a leader in renewables within the region. The cooperation was primarily based on three types of projects: mega utility projects, which were large-scale projects that required big investments, that were facilitated by the close cooperation between private sector investors, international financial institutions, and the government. To date, we have around 27 projects with a total capacity of 1,315 megawatts and will reach around 1,500 megawatts in 2021, feeding our grid. The second type is wheeling projects. We in Jordan facilitated through our regulations medium-scale projects which targeted big consumers who desire to install megawatt solar farms to feed their own consumption. This is the likes of hotels, hospitals, telecoms, who need big solar farms to feed their consumptions. The financial facilities were provided for these systems by the banks in Jordan and backed by the Central Bank of Jordan. The final set of regulations and facilities were catered towards smaller consumers and involves net metering for households, mosques, schools, commercial buildings, farmers, and others. Many of the small-scale projects were primarily funded through JREEF, Jordan Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Fund, a fund that is financed by the government of Jordan and other funding agencies which help farmers, households, industries, hotels, mosques, churches, schools, civil societies to efficiently use energy and utilize renewable energy to either cover their electric power consumption or by taking energy efficiency measures. With JREEF, we were able to install 27,000 solar water heaters and for households, provide over 500 mosques and churches with renewable energy systems to generate their own electricity consumption, and helped set up energy efficiency measures for industries, hotels, farmers, households, municipalities, and most importantly, schools, where we supported His Majesty's initiative to provide heating for schools utilizing the power of the sun along with energy efficiency measures. The transformation in kids' experience at schools is unbelievable and an example to follow. To date, the number of consumers who are generating their own consumption on their rooftops using renewable energy exceeded 20,000 with a total capacity of around 690 megawatts, and this is compared to almost zero in 2014. We have also started a project which aims to replace 410,000 street lights in Jordan with LEDs. It will cover all street lights in municipalities and camps in Jordan. Implementation will start in the first quarter of 2021 and finish hopefully by end of 2022. It's a huge effort and a leap towards energy efficiency, enlightening our streets in Jordan. One last project we are proud of is called Solar to the Poor. We started the project in 2019 as we believe benefiting from the sun to generate a household electricity should not only help the rich who can afford it. These systems should help also the poor who are most needy to reduce their monthly electricity bill. The project helps families benefiting from the National Aid Fund to install 2K solar systems to produce their electricity consumptions on their rooftops. The cost is covered by the government and free of charge for the beneficiaries. We have installed so far 5,500 systems, and the aim is to cover 120,000 beneficiaries. To continue with the momentum, Jordan launched its energy strategy for the years 2020 to 30. This energy is based on 4 pillars: energy security, affordability, sustainability, and increasing the reliance on local resources. All of these make us continue the momentum towards renewable energy and energy efficiency. The 2020-2030 strategy includes the target to increase the share of renewable energy in the electricity generation from 13% in 2019 to 31% in 2030. Moreover, the target for energy efficiency for the year 2030 is to reduce the energy consumption by 9% from the consumption of 2018. Jordan's journey has been filled with challenges, but through perseverance and determination, the culture around renewable energy shifted. We no longer consider renewable energy to be a choice. We see it as a necessity. We hope that you too can join us in influencing your energy development through transition towards renewable energy. This will not only help us as nations in moving towards energy independence, but also helps us strive towards energy resilience, sustainability, and make us better citizens of the world. And guess what? What goes around comes around. While being good to nature and the environment, it pays back. You will always be looking anxiously for a sunnier tomorrow. I hope it's warm and shiny wherever you are today, and thank you and wish you a fruitful conference.
Okay, it's a great pleasure to join you all here at the Photovoltafrica Virtual Summit. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the United Arab Emirates is a true believer in the need for transition toward a greener forms of energy. Our leadership have instructed us to start a transition since 2017, in which we launched Emirates Energy Strategy 2050. In our energy strategy, our target was to reduce CO2 emissions by 70% through introducing up to 50% of clean forms of energy. That will include our nuclear power plants, and primarily the majority of that 50% is coming from solar, around 44% of the 50%. That transition is also including working on maximizing the efficiency from the generation to the transmission and to the distribution, as well as working on the demand side management to ensure that the consumers are using 40% less electricity by the year 2050. I can tell you that that journey have been a success for us so far. We managed through the introduction of a large-scale solar project to reduce the average cost of generation from photovoltaic to around 1.35 cents per kilowatt hour. And as you know, this is a world record. Our latest project was of a size of a 2,000 megawatt, and I think this is the largest single site photovoltaic project in the world. We also believe in the partnership with the private sector, and all of our projects are offered through a public and private partnership model. The UAE have also invested in different types of renewable energy, including the centralized and the centralized solar panels using molten salt, and we have probably one of the largest projects in the region in this field. We also worked with the investors in bringing the latest technology in photovoltaic. We also managed to commercialize one of the first, if not the first, carbon capture and utilization project in the region. And we have done it commercially, so it was not a subsidized project. That project alone is capturing 800,000 tons of CO2 annually from one of our industrial projects, and compress that gas and inject it as a replacement for natural gas in one of our oil fields. After the success of this project, we are intending through our national oil company to go to the level to 500 times what we have done so far. So to go to around 5 million tons of capturing of CO2 and utilizing it and storing it by the year 2030. We are also looking at the new technologies like the hydrogen, considering to put a strategy around blue and green hydrogen. And we are proud to be working on the first solar-powered green hydrogen plant in the region, with collaboration between Dubai Water and Electricity Company and Siemens. In addition to the renewable energy, we also managed to start our first peaceful nuclear reactors in the Middle East, and we reached during the startup phase 100% power by the first plant, and we look forward to integrate it into the grid soon. This is the first plant out of 4 plants, and the total is going to be 5.4 gigawatt of baseload green form of electricity. And we think upon the completion of that project alone, that will give us around 25% of the electricity, or will cover 25% of the demand in UAE. The target is to reach 50% by all forms of energy, greener forms of energy, by the year 2050. We are also keen on interlinking with Africa through the newly project of the Arab grid network that hopefully will see the light in the coming years after the success of the Gulf state network that we have built, and today we have seen the benefit of exchanging and trading electricity, affordable electricity, between the member states. So we look forward to that day where we could exchange or expand this exchange to Africa, to the Arab world and Africa. UAE will be very happy to share its humble experience in the field of transformation toward a greener forms of energy with all of you. And we look forward to the dialogue and to the joint efforts to reduce the carbon footprint and make our cities greener. Thank you.
Merci, Monsieur. Minister Rabah, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, because the invitation came from my friend, Minister Rabah. Minister Rabah and myself, we have been working together for several years now, and thanks to his great efforts, Morocco became a very important country in North Africa, in the region, and a source of inspiration for many countries in the world, and Morocco is part of the IEA family. Mr. Minister, I am grateful for your friendship and the way that you lead Morocco through clean energy transitions. The second reason why I was very happy to accept this invitation is that Africa is a continent that goes through this unprecedented challenge, perhaps in the most difficult way. And I want to talk a bit on Africa, and I want to, in fact, in the context of Africa, I want to focus two issues. One is the access to energy, the other one is renewables. Now, some 20 years ago, access to electricity was a challenge for China, India, and Sub-Saharan Africa. In the last 2 decades, first China, then recently India, solved this problem, and everybody is connected to power in these countries. And Sub-Saharan Africa is now the key region which we face this problem badly. And the bad news with coronavirus is the following. We are, year and year, we are monitoring how many people have no access to electricity, without electricity, how many people. And in Africa, in the last 7 years, we have seen a positive trend. The number of people who have no access to electricity was declining. More and more people gaining access to electricity, until this year, where we saw the reverse of the trend. 2020, the number of people who have no access to electricity is increasing. This is mainly because of the financial implications of the coronavirus and the investors and the households and others. This is an area that we feel very uncomfortable about. we believe at the IEA access to electricity in Africa or elsewhere is critical for economy. It's an economic issue, but beyond that, it is a moral issue. And here comes the renewables. Now, when I look at globally, what happened in the energy sector, global energy sector, as a result of COVID, I see that the oil, gas, coal, they all declined this year. The only fuel which increased this year was renewables, especially renewables in electricity generation, solar and wind. Now, dear colleagues, solar is growing very strongly. Only this year, if you look at this year, 2020, 2019 was a similar year, but 2020 is a very good example. This year, of all the power plants built in the world, when you look at all the power plants in the world, half of them were solar. The other half, everything else put together. So 50% solar, 50% coal plus oil plus gas plus nuclear plus wind, hydro, 50%, solar alone 50%. And this is happening mainly because of its economics. Solar is becoming the cheapest source of electricity generation around the world. And this is more so in Africa. Africa today receives about 40% of global solar radiation. The potential is in Africa, 40%. But unfortunately, uses less than 1% of the solar power capacity. Let me put it in a different context. I don't know if we have colleagues listening us, following us from UK. The amount of solar power capacity in UK is 3 times larger than the entire sub-Saharan Africa. It is incredible to believe. I mean, look at nobody can convince me that the UK is sunnier than sub-Saharan Africa. Nobody can convince me that the UK is bigger than sub-Saharan Africa. Such a wasted potential. And it is not only in Africa. It is also in Asia, Latin America, Europe, North America, everywhere. Solar is coming very strongly. And it is the reason when I presented our renewables report to international press 2 weeks ago, I nicknamed solar as the new king of global electricity markets. The new king is solar. But of course, it is not easy in many cases to find the investments for solar installations, especially in emerging world and also in Africa. We are seeing that today the cost of financing in Africa is increasing so much that it compensates the decline coming from the economic cost of solar, which is not a very good news in my view. So we very much hope that the African countries, as we have seen in Morocco, in South Africa and elsewhere, make most of it is renewable sources, but especially of solar. But of course, there is also wind, hydropower, many other renewable sources. And I should tell you that I think it is fair to say African countries need to use whatever the economics tell them, whatever the cheapest and sustainable options are there for them on the table. And this can be solar, wind, natural gas, hydropower, whatever is there, because we know that Africa needs a lot of energy. Let me finish my words by talking a few things about IEA and Africa. We have been working with the African governments closely, especially with Morocco in the north, South Africa there in the south of the continent, and they are members of the IEA family as governments, but with the others as well. Especially a good partner is African Union Commission. Some 2 weeks ago, African Union Commission and the IEA hold a ministerial level meeting chaired by the South African Minister Mantashe to talk about the African energy issues, from investment to deployment, from deployment to addressing the energy access problems. We had 15 African ministers there, including Mr. Rabat, and the countries around there was about 3/4 of the total African energy consumption. I have assured the ministers that we are, as International Energy Agency, ready to support them on different fronts. We are an organization for all fuels and all technologies. We have the expertise on renewables, oil, gas, energy efficiency, grids, electricity grids, nuclear power, coal, bioenergy, all of them. And I am very happy that we are working with many African governments to train their people in terms of statistics. Data is very important. In terms of planning, in terms of how to design the electricity markets, gas markets, renewable markets. And I can tell you that you all colleagues here in Africa, you have a very good friend, International Energy Agency in Paris, and we will be delighted to support your work. It can be on solar, it can be on wind, efficiency, hydro, natural gas, whatever it is, we are here to support you. Thank you very much for listening to me, and once again, many thanks and congratulations to my good friend, Minister Aziz Rabat. Thank you.